What's up, everybody? It's Donald from Black and Tan. I'm sure Paul will be in on here live soon. Um, wanted to, we don't really have a guest today. It's just going to be us kind of hanging out, talking to each other. Let me get Paul in here real quick. Let's see if that worked. You would think after like 14 episodes, I would have this down to a science, right? There it is.
How about that? It's in the top of my
What's
head.
up, Mr. Lavelli, Dr. Lavelli? Hey, I miss you, man.
Do you?
Yeah, look, I've been getting beat up on out here, and I need the Pauls to unite and take back my KOM that I took today.
Somebody took your KOM?
Yeah, someone took my KOM, but I knew it wasn't going to last very long anyway. First of all, let me just tell you, Zach gave it to me anyway. It was literally a handed KOM. Zach pulled 90% of the time, pulled off the last quarter of a mile, and said, "Go get your KOM."
Aw.
So it was like it was a handed KOM, and then of course one of the Driscoll brothers, Adam Driscoll, decided to go ahead and annihilate it. He didn't beat it. First of all, it's an hour and 30. It was an hour and 30-minute segment. It was basically the entire loop that we've done. We knocked it down. We went from an hour 30 to an hour 21, and then Adam just took it to an hour 6.
Well, that's, you know what? I use Adam as my marker because I don't pay much attention to Strava, but I know when I get a kudos from Adam, I must have actually got a KOM
Yeah.
that he had, and then he goes and gets it back right away.
Oh yeah, yeah. He's super competitive when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is.
So how's it down? You're in the Carolinas?
I am in North Carolina right now. It is. I did an FTP test today, so it wasn't a good day. wasn't fun. I did a really good ride though on Monday, Memorial Day. Did 79 miles at like 20 miles an hour, close to 20 miles an hour. So I was happy that 4,600 feet of climbing. So
Yeah, what's you right now? or is this information that I given like because you compete at you're competing at like a national level.
yeah,
So are these things that we should be sharing, or do we keep these things a secret?
I don't keep it a secret, but it can rub people the wrong way when you're, I guess. But my FTP today was 349 at 100 and probably 71 pounds at that time. So
Okay, 171 pounds. Yeah.
Right around 4.5 watts per kilogram, somewhere in there.
Okay, yeah, I had a T-shirt that weighed about 170 pounds. That's a lot of fabric, by the way. That's a whole lot of fabric. But I don't think I weighed 170 pounds. I had to have been like freshly out of high school when I weighed 170 pounds.
What's the lowest you've been weight wise in the last 10 years?
90. Well, yeah, like 95, I think it was.
95? Okay.
95.
That's your race weight. If you raced, that'd be your race weight.
Yeah, but I quit. So I did that on almost a no carb diet, and it was horrible. No power at all. Absolutely no power at all. I had one of the worst rides of my life. I ended up it was during the like one of the velo. I almost want to say it was like Memorial Day ride, like maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and I was the last person the entire ride. Everybody, I'm talking the B riders, the C riders, whatever lower letters there are than that they all passed me. I ended up going over to my friend Adam's house, and he gave me a ride back to my car. It was bad. I had no no power at all. It was super bad.
Don't do that again.
No. So no, that diet doesn't work for me. It works for me as far as losing weight, but it doesn't work for me as far as like actually having to perform on a bike. It's not going to happen.
What if you did a vegan diet?
Are you challenging me?
I'm challenging. I think I am, yeah.
But
you already like the veggie. What's the Taco Bell thing you get?
What I've noticed, in order to get for me to go like have food that's like that's vegetarian, I have to put so many spices on it and everything to make it taste a certain way that it burns me up. I'm hurting by the middle of the day. Right? So it's like it's a no-win. It's a no-win scenario. Like I mean, that Taco Bell veggie burrito is spicy. It gets me. It gets me. Oh, so I don't know if you I got another little sponsor for us for this Black and Tan.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
I didn't realize we had a first sponsor. But
well, we kind of ourselves, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Top Lock, which we have to announce the winner of that.
I have it. Did you pick it out too? Because I did it.
You did or didn't?
I did.
Cool. No, I didn't. Cool. That's perfect.
Okay. Yeah, I put everybody's name in a piece of paper that had liked and left a comment that last video, and I have the winner. I don't know who the winner is. I only know their YouTube name.
This one's a lot better.
Okay.
So we're giving away the brand new Corsa Pros in either a set of brand new Corsa Pros, Victoria Corsa Pros, in either a size 30 or 28.
Black and tan.
Yes, that's about $170, $180 worth of tires. Yeah.
That's very cool.
Yeah, it's super cool. It's super cool. So
if I had just purchased this, I would want to win this.
Exactly what you did. If they're 100% what I'm riding right now too. Yeah, so they're our local rep Roberts said that he would donate those for our giveaway. So that's awesome. I just got the limited edition ones that are pink actually. Yeah. They're here's something funny though. No, be my friend, Paul. Is it too much?
I want to walk this back just for a second. I'm going to ask you a question. You've already decided that bike stirs up controversy because of its coloring, right?
Not a bad thing. I'm also learning that it's not a bad thing. So here's the thing. So I'm willing to, I mean, it offends people. It's so funny. It offends. I think what it does is it offends certain people's masculinity.
Hold on. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
What has been your favorite comment so far? Like, I know you've got a lot of them because I've heard some of them when they say it to you, but what's been your favorite so far?
I mean, I guess it would be, that's a girl's bike. Just straight up, that's a girl's bike. I'm like, all right, well, I mean, I guess if we were in the 1960s, you're right, 100% right. It's definitely a girl's bike. But you know, it is one of those bikes where people literally either like it a lot or they, you know, they're like almost like that's disgusting. I wouldn't ride that. It's cool either way. I mean, that's what makes us individuals, right?
So now you're going to put black and pink, not black and tan, but black and pink tires on that bike.
I did say pink. But I like to call it salmon. So now Rob, first of all, I don't get these tires at wholesale pricing. They're 100% retail. right? Even my costs, like there's no cost breaks on them.
Again, let's walk it back. I thought somebody gave these to you, and you're saying no. You actively went out and purchased them.
I'm buying the limited edition ones. I guess he laughed at me inside since I'm buying pink tires and said, you know what? I'm going to donate tires to Black and Tan. And someone said that they're 0.0076% faster. So check it out. So yeah, so I got these pink tires. So yeah, it's either going to make it even worse or it is. But I have 2 sets coming in. Okay, so if anybody wants them, they're regular price. They're $100. They're $100 per tire. But I have them coming in. The limited edition, Corsa Pros, and black and pink. You know.
All right, everybody out there who's listening and who will listen, like we need to. This was a joke originally, but Limar makes a helmet. If you pull up Limar's website, Limar, they make a helmet that actually matches Donald's bike. And I said to him, look, I'm a brand ambassador for him. I'll get you that at like half price, right? Which is a great deal for a helmet, a Nips helmet, Arrow helmet. And you think that's too much, but now you're saying I could put black and pink tires on it. I mean, besides the fact, wait, don't talk, because you're going to interrupt me. They'll only hear your voice, and I need to finish. And then you've got the Rafa outfit to match the bike. You've come a long way, brother. You've come a long way.
I have come a long way. I have come a long way.
There was a time when we worried about seeing through your kid. Now I'm worried that the paparazzi is going to be chasing us down the road, taking pictures of you. I think that's where you're headed.
So Rob calls me. My business partner, Rob Stroh, calls me. He handles all the finances with the business. So when he sees big hits on the credit card, he calls me and says, hey, is this legit? Are you really ordering 4 sets of pink tires at full retail? and
I can hear his voice. I can hear it.
So he's like, so you legit ordering
Not saying it's wrong, Donald. Just asking.
So you're legit ordering $400 worth of pink tires at a price that we cannot make a profit on. So we can't sell them. They're like he goes, you do realize, this is how Rob talks to me. He goes, you do realize if we sell them and someone runs a credit card, we actually lose money. I said, yeah, I get it. I totally get it. And like I said, he speaks a lot of common sense when it comes to the way that I buy things.
Yeah.
So he's a good business partner because of that, right? He knows what to say and when to say it to get me to really think about things. So, again, if anybody's interested in another set of pink 30 millimeter 700C Corsa Pro tires, they're sick, but they're going to cost you $105 probably. That'll cover my credit card transaction fee. And they're sold out, by the way. They're sold out everywhere. You cannot get them. I have two sets coming in. One's for me and one's for whoever is the lucky person that may get them. Listen,
Princess Diana was chased down by the paparazzis. You need to be careful now. I'm just saying, you need to be careful.
So I'm now Princess Diana, huh? Wow. Well, all right, so I got another thing to talk about. I want to talk about, now that we have everybody on a more serious note.
Oh goodness.
I want to bring up a subject that some people have brought up. So we had a big ride this weekend, and there was a number of crashes in this ride. I mean, it was rides everywhere this weekend. So people were going down left and right. One of the guys, one of his bikes got beat up pretty bad. Person jumped up and was like, sorry, and just kind of rode away. Meanwhile, his bike's broke. I mean, our bikes, the average price of a bike groups that we ride with, I'd say if there's like significant others in the room, you might want to have them roll out. But I'd say the average price of a bike in our group is probably $8,000, right? I mean, because there's a handful of, that's about average.
I am so under the bus right now. You've thrown me so far under the bus at this point.
Well,
but
that not yours. Not yours. I was talking about somebody else. You know what I mean? Not our bike. Our bikes are like those lower middle class bikes, right? But so the question is to you, I'm riding, I might not be paying attention, I'm doing something stupid. Is if I take you out and make you crash, would you expect me, or would it to pay for the damages that I've caused?
All right, I think there's a lot to parse out in this question. I don't think it's so straightforward, right? So let's talk a little bit through some of the things that come into your head that I think about. Is one, when you choose to group ride, you realize it's going to be inherently dangerous. As if you choose to ride on the road, it's inherently dangerous.
No, right? I got that.
Yeah,
I got that.
But I'm going to choose to ride around people whom I don't know, right? Who we don't know their biking experience, right? There's a lot of unknowns in that. And we don't even know if they know how to ride in a group, because there's a way to ride in a group, right? How you rotate through, how close you are, don't overlap wheels, right? So I know personally that I risk that. 9 times out of 10, it usually keeps me in the first 3 of any group ride, because I'm wary of being farther back because of those issues. But somebody does something sketchy, you're defining that as sketchy. I would guess that it would have to be really obvious to me. What if they swerved and missed a hole? What if you were overlapped? There's like a lot of stuff that goes into that.
Well, all right, let's just say blatantly stupid, right? Like they phone out and they're trying to film the... Well, hey, listen, it happens a lot.
I'm laughing because I know where that's coming from. But anyway,
it's not just one person doing it though. I see in group rides, I do it, right? I do it. We all do it, but what if me doing that caused you to crash, and I just cracked your $5,000 S-Works frame. I just cracked your frame because I was doing something that I know I shouldn't be doing in a group ride, and it caused you basically $5,000.
Do I make you pay half? Is that what you're asking me?
I mean, I don't know. I don't have the answer.
Yeah.
How would you feel? Would you feel like, damn, I feel like this dude needs to pay me, help me out here? I'm not even saying pay half. I'm just saying, hey, look, I think I would pop up. It depends on, and also it depends on a lot of things for me. For me, it would depend on a couple of things. One, it would depend on how that person reacts, right? Like if they popped up and they were just like either angry or mad at me or whatever else, then there's it's a different story, right?
I got you.
But I think if they were cool and they stuck around and everything was right, and we had a conversation, I think I would ask them to say, hey, look, I think we need to split the cost of this, if you can. If he says I can't or she says I can't, then I get it. But I think it starts with putting it out there at least, right? Saying and not being mad at the answer. Like I wouldn't get mad at the answer if the person was like, no, I can't afford it. Okay, I get it, right? But I think putting the question out there and letting that other person know where you are and how you feel is something that I probably should be done.
What if you're in a bike race?
Nope, that's different.
Okay.
100% different. 100% different because no one's going to be doing stupid things. Well, that's not true. People do stupid things in bike races too, 100%. But I think they do more stupid things in bike races, to be honest with you. They definitely take bigger chances. But I think when you sign up in the bike race, you 100% know that's odds are, say, if you race crits and you race crits for 10 years and you don't get into an accident for 10 years, you're not racing crits. You're doing leisurely rides around circles. Because I mean, it's no way that you're not going to be involved in something if it's not. They used to say it's not if it's going to happen, it's when it's going to happen.
I have two big red patches on each of my hips from losing in there repeatedly.
Yeah. So racing is one of those things where I would say no. You kind of know the dangers of racing, and that's part of the game, right? Group rides, on the other hand, it's not part of the game. I've been involved in groups. Just Velo, I'll just straight up say it. Velo City is one of the most, in my opinion, one of the most organized and well put together groups out there. And one of the things that I love about Velo is they will ask someone not to come back. They'll literally say, "Hey, look, you've caused enough damage. We're gonna chalk this up right now and just say, hey, look, if you don't mind not coming back for a year or so, they'll put them on. We'd appreciate it." And they've asked people that I know of that have caused plenty of accidents not to come back. So I think it's when you go into group rides, you're not expecting it like you would expect it in road racing. And when it happens, I haven't been taken out, thank goodness, in a group ride. So I don't know how I would react, but yeah, for sure. So now, but I do know how I react when I hear the stories, right? And it's like, all right, well, afterwards, the way that you feel about a certain scenario that you weren't involved in is completely different than how you would feel at the moment of it happening. So again, the question is I guess it's a hard question to answer, right?
Yeah, because you're assuming that the other guy or woman thinks they were at fault, and I see your point, like having your camera out, although full disclosure, you and I do that quite a bit. So
I said 100% that I do it.
Yeah, we don't often do it in a big group, but there might be four of us and we're filming, right?
Again, if I have my camera out and I caused an accident, it's 100% my fault, right? And I would feel obligated to try to help out. Now, granted, I have
pink tires.
Not yet, I don't. But I have ways to fix bikes that the average person can't do, right? Like, I mean, obviously, with being an owner of a bike shop, I can get things at much cheaper rates, and I can provide my own labor to get things fixed. But the average person, again, you wreck Big Worm's bike, and first of all, you have to deal with Big Worm. Second of all, he rides. I mean, his bike's like a $14,000 bike, right? You wreck his bike, man. That's like damage to a really nice used car.
Yeah, really nice.
Right? Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I don't know the answer to it. I want people to chime in and tell me what they think. If they think that if they think that if you cause an accident, are you somewhat responsible for helping out with the cost of the repairs?
Can I offer you a censor right here?
Yeah.
Because there many of us who are watching and listening to this podcast may not have disclosed the amount of money we
I,
spent on our bikes to our others, and you're throwing out a lot of big numbers. So I just want to say, we may want to check that just a touch.
yeah. Sorry about sorry about that.
We can just say expensive. We realize they're expensive.
So I don't know if my business partner Mike just chimed in and he said no, it's not our responsibility again. And I'm not trying to sway anybody in one direction or the other because I don't have the answer to it. But again, if we're talking someone doing something stupid, like I said, my camera's out. I'm trying to film the group, and I take everybody out. That's the scenario. That's more of the scenario. I'm going downhill, and for no reason, I just slam on my brakes while I'm in front of the pack, and everybody just crashes behind me. Like, is it my fault that should I help pay for some of that stuff? You know what I mean? Those are the kind of things that you look at and go, why would you do that? Well, in one of the races I just watched, half the race was taken out by a guy who went off to the side of the road, was in the grass, and kind of swerved back into the pack and took out half the race. Like, it was a stupid move. I don't even understand why he was doing what he was doing. But, obviously he's not paying for anything, but he has to take responsibility for what he did.
He caused the crash. Yeah, he caused the crash. Yep.
So, again, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, right? But like I said, it's one of those things that's come up several times this week, and some guys were really hot, and we're like, man, no, that person would pay for it. One way or another, they're going to pay for it. Blah blah blah. And I straight up told him, I said, I don't know. I've been cycling for ever, it seems like, and I've never heard of anybody paying for an accident that they've caused. Never. I don't know I don't know if it's.
I know one that happened on a group ride I was on. I know one. Group rides. Mike and I had the same question. Mike got on a little bit late, but he says a group ride's different than races. But we already talked about how you think races are different. And people do. We agreed, Mike, that people do stupid stuff in races all the time. So my thing is, would I offer if I thought it was clearly my fault? I'm probably going to offer to help pay for that.
Right.
Would I demand it from somebody else? I don't know if I'm there when I'm in a group ride and I know the inherent dangers associated with that. So.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, though. Same thing. I don't think I would demand it. I would put it on the table for sure. Right? I'd be like, hey, can you help me out with this repair? It'd be more of a question than a demand. Can you help me out? The answer could be yes. The answer could be, if you ask those type of questions, you gotta be ready to hear the answer. Now, I got a friend on here named Hugh. Hugh's brand new to cycling. So this is a question, Hugh, that like I said, we don't really know the answer to. It doesn't come up often. And as long as I've been riding and as many crashes I've seen, I've never seen anybody offer to repair or help pay for a bike that they've caused an accident to break.
I think it's equally as important, and this is more proactive, that we feel comfortable in those group rides in a respectful way of correcting people who are making mistakes in the group, so we don't lead to this issue, right? And I personally do that.
I agree, but there's certain qualifications that you need to have before you start trying to correct people. And that's another issue that I have that we could talk about some other time. But if you're not qualified to lead a ride, if you're not qualified to correct people in mistakes that they make, you should just kind of be quiet, right? I mean, there's a lot of coaches. There's a lot of people that coach that aren't qualified to coach. There's a lot of, the bigger the group gets, right? The bigger the group gets, the more people come into it that want to be mechanics, that aren't qualified to be mechanics, that give advice that aren't qualified to give advice on fitness, give advice on training, everything, right? That aren't qualified to do so. And unfortunately, you don't know who's qualified and what qualifications people have until sometimes it's too late. Like, so yeah, it's same thing with group rides. It's when you're pointing out things, if you're learning how to do certain things, you're following certain people that may not point out every obstacle, right? And that's not a bad thing. If you're used to riding with those people and they're around other people that ride that way, then it's a great thing. You know, Mike, again, bringing up Mike Berner. Mike Berner points out things in a way that's kind of unique to Mike, but we're all on it. We know what's up, right? So it works perfect for us. You know, it may not work for someone that doesn't know what he's doing. So yeah, knowing the group ride is definitely important. Do you survey when you go to a group? Like, I mean, how do you know?
How do I know?
Yeah.
How do I know what? How do I know who the strong riders are? Who knows what they're doing?
Yeah. I mean, how do you know?
I usually, well, you know, I analyze people all the time. So I look the way they hold their bike. I look the way they stop, how they get out of their pedals. Just as we're starting out, those are the things I particularly look at. I look at who talks by looking at a person and who talks by looking forward. That's important. And I look at people when they look back. Does their bike drift one way or another? And I usually know, like, honestly, I probably, if I haven't ridden with somebody within the first 200 yards, I'll know whether I'll be behind them, the rest of the ride, or near them at all, based on those first 100 yards. So,
right. No, I got you. I do a lot of things the same. You know, what I try not to do is the people that I'm not sure of, as I definitely don't. The basics, right? We all know, most of the people know the basics, not to overlap your wheels and things like that. So those, I make sure I'm fundamentally sound when it comes to these new people and following the basic rules of cycling, like not overlapping wheels, giving them enough room to stop and things like that.
I'm interested in qualified. When you said qualified, I was like, do I think I'm qualified to give that feedback? I personally do, right? But when did I reach that qualification level or status or whatever? Was it, and maybe because I'm qualified because I've done certain group rides before, where if I were going into a new one, maybe I wouldn't have. I don't know.
Right, but you're not going to go into a new group ride and start barking out demands, right? That it's just not that way. I feel like you're qualified to say what you need to say because of the way that you ride, right? It's quickly, I can quickly tell, okay, well, that, like you said, within a couple of minutes, I can tell someone that can ride and someone that can't, right? I can tell someone that just bought a really nice bike in their parking lot pimping versus just like someone who who can really ride. Just because you have nice gear, just because you have a nice bike, doesn't mean you're qualified to give instructions, and it doesn't mean that you're fast or you're a qualified rider. It is what it is. And the opposite goes as well. Just because you don't have those things doesn't mean that you're not qualified to say, hey, look, check this out, look at this, you're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong. You know, I think it comes with age. I think it comes with the amount of time that you've been on the bike. That Des, I think that's Des. She really liked my parking lot pimping. But anyway, so I think it's time. I think it comes with time. Not everybody wants to even if you're qualified and you've been in it for a long time. Not everybody wants to have that role taken up, right? They'll just simply, instead of me saying, hey, look, man, you're swerving a lot, you need to hold your line, they'll simply just move to the back and get away from that guy and let him swerve and do whatever he needs to do. Or if you're not pointing out potholes, we were on a ride this weekend, the Memorial Day ride. This is a great example. We're riding down the road. It's probably 50, 60. It was 60 people. There was a count of 60. It was 60 of us in a group.
Is this why we need new tires? Is this where we're heading?
It might be why. why we didn't tell. I was riding with Paul, the other Paul. Paul has probably 30 bikes, 30 kits, that bikes, and they're all incredible. Paul Talley, trust me. When you know Paul Talley, when you remember the name, and when you meet him, you'll know what I'm talking about.
All right.
So
there you are.
So we're riding down the road, and the group calls out every single crack and crevice there is, because they're from D riding level all the way up to the A riding level. So the A riders aren't calling out every crack and crevice, right? But the D riders, when I say they're calling out everything, they're calling out everything. So in a riding group scenario, they want you to say, if you're coming up along 60 people in this group, if you're coming up alongside of someone, they want you to say that you're coming up on the left, you're coming up on the right. It's the craziest thing. Like they'll get mad if you come up and you come up on my left and you don't say coming up on the left. I'm like, man, I'm gonna be out of breath with 60 people before I even get anywhere, because I'm just literally barking out every pothole, every crack. I get it. It's a level of being comfortable. So what I started doing was instead of telling everybody pothole, I started saying you don't have to avoid every pothole, right? You don't have to avoid every manhole cover. A lot of them are we say it just so you don't take your hands off the bar. But if you grab the bar a little tight and just run it right over, you're not even going to notice it, right? So I think being qualified, feeling like I was qualified to say that to people was okay with me. You know what I mean? So okay. I think and that was a long way of saying that I'm qualified.
That was a long way. I feel like we were in a deep rabbit hole there. I didn't even know where you were going, actually.
I get long-winded. My bad. My bad.
Hey, we did the last podcast we did was you, right?
Right.
And we received a lot of really good feedback on that episode. Because it was you, of course, Mr. Paparazzi. But I also think the topic and your discussion of it, and yeah. I think lots of people. Tell me about some of the comments that you heard.
Bro, I was almost like I was taken back. Like it was so positive, and I felt like I don't know. I mean, in the middle of sometimes at some points in the middle of you asking me the questions, I felt like, man, damn. I guess I was trying to think back to how I felt during that moment, right? Like when it happened years ago. And I felt like I felt like I was kind of alone sometimes. Like, and then when people would come up to me and would tell me, oh man, hey, I really related to that. I'm like, damn, there was a lot of people going through the exact same thing that I was going through. And it was funny because it wasn't always cycling. It was like a lot of people were like, hey, I was a young black guy who rode skateboards in my neighborhood. Right. And it's like, oh, I get it. I get it. You know, so I got everything, Paul. I got people coming up and just thanking me for a lot of the Randallstown guys called me and told me, hey, look, that was really powerful. That was great. That was the best one. I got guys called me right after the interview. I mean, literally after we hung up, my phone rang a couple of times where people were like, man, that was pretty powerful. I don't know if it was, like I said, I didn't think that it was that powerful. I thought it was the first time in a long time that I was able just to talk and try in my head, try to be as honest as I possibly could about every scenario. And that's that. I think that's what they saw, because they don't always get to see me. I'm not saying that I'm not an honest person, but I don't think a lot of people always get to see me. Right.
I think a lot of times you're the bike politician. You even say it. I gotta go shake hands and kiss some
Yeah,
babies.
sure, for sure. You know, I put a little thing on Instagram where the guy was saying, I do this for fun. I do this for work. I do this because this is my profession, right? This is what I do. And outside of cycling, I'm always trying to get people back into the cycling circle, right? When they go outside the circle and they start talking about other things other than bikes, I always try to bring them back into that circle, because that's how I put food on my table. That's how I provide for my family. These conversations lead to bike sales. These conversations lead to more friends that I make in the industry and everything else. Like, it's 100% genuine, right? It's my profession. It's what I do to make money. But I would do it if I could if I didn't have to pay bills, I would do the stuff anyway. I would do it for free.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So yeah, I am a politician when it comes to that, because I have to get people to vote for Patapsco bicycles, right? There's a lot of other people running for that office, and I have to get people to vote for Patapsco bicycles. So what do? You go out, you shake hands, you kiss babies, you politic, and you get as many votes as you possibly can. And unlike a lot of other politicians, man, you gotta, if you say you're gonna do something, you gotta do it.
Yeah.
So
I know you brought it up, and we're gonna have a guest from this Randallstown documentary that's going on. You and I have talked about it. I don't know if everybody else knows. Can you give a brief? Because I thought it was very interesting when I heard you talk about that.
So yeah, there's a documentary that's happening in a town around Baltimore. It's called Randallstown, and Randallstown had a group of cyclists that were African American cyclists that had started racing in the '60s, and they had been racing up and down the East Coast for a long time, and they stuck together and they raced with each other, and they have it's an interesting story of cycling that was happening in a time that it wasn't cool to happen in our culture. So the guy's documenting it, and I was lucky enough to be a part of the documentary and part of the history of the Randallstown crew. So the Randallstown crew, we started the Baltimore Metropolitan Wheelmen. We were the first major Taylor associated group in Baltimore to ever exist. And like I said, I'm one of the founding members, and you know, that's one of the, in cycling, it's one of the proud moments I have, where I feel like, man, I was part of something that was real. So, you know, yeah, so that documentary is documenting the guy. It's a documentary about the guys out in Randallstown that were racing in the '60s, and you know, came up in Baltimore City racing their bikes. It's pretty cool.
And we'll have the guy who's doing it on one day soon. I think we're trying to work that out. So that's exciting. I think that'll be a great conversation. Very interesting conversation.
So, yeah.
I think from my perspective, I saw in a lot of the comments like the courage. Glad Dr. Paul had the courage to ask those questions of you.
No, dude, I said that today to some. I'm telling you, since the episode aired, I haven't had a day where I haven't had a conversation about the episode.
Yeah.
So I guess that's a great thing, right? So we're 2 weeks past it, and I'm still having on a daily basis conversations about it. So I said the same thing to the person about, like, I thought it was genuine of you, because you said that you saw the way that I was talking to, speaking of which, Andre's on right now. You saw the way that I was talking to Andre, and you noticed that it wasn't a jealousy thing or anything like that, but you noticed that I don't talk to you and interact with you that way. And you asked me how come. Like it was like genuine, right? Like like it's one of those on the spot things. Like I don't know how to answer it, but I just try to be as honest and truthful as I possibly could, right? Like just answer from the heart, just be honest about it. And I think it showed when people looked at the episode. I think it showed that that I was being honest. It showed that you weren't just asking questions to poke at me or to make me feel uncomfortable. I thought they were legit, really powerful, good questions to ask me. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We got a lot of feedback. We're still getting feedback, but a lot of feedback. I didn't find it. I just had a conversation with you, and the reason I did is because I hadn't looked on you in that way. As you said, I never even asked why. Do you know what I'm saying? It wasn't like I asked you why then, but I never even asked why we've never had a black guy and a tan guy a conversation about race. We never have. It was just
why, because again, that whole, do you see me as your black friend or do you see me as Donald, right? Like you genuinely see me as Donald. It's obvious, right? And I don't think I have too many friends or acquaintances, because I guess they wouldn't be my friends if I thought that they saw me as just a black friend, right? I mean, I don't have too many people around me like that. I just don't see it. And maybe it's the community that we live in. Maybe it's the cycling community. I don't know. I just don't have a lot of people like that. I feel like most of the people that I ride with and that I hang out with would invite me over to break bread with them, with their family, and hang out, right? I don't know of anyone that I honestly ride with all the time that I wouldn't invite over to my house and hang out with my family as genuine friends. I don't have to have it. I don't have to have anything else in common besides a love for cycling and a mutual respect. That's all I need.
I think the point we take away from that is that our friendship is an anomaly, unfortunately, and it needs to become contagious, right? That's the thing. It's like we always think about, and this is way more than we have time for, but because it's come up, we always think about the race, the diversity and equity within cycling. We've talked about that. You and I have talked about that
Right.
outside. And how do you rectify it? I think Andre is in. We were really interested in how he's trying to rectify. You and I guess this is sort of taken off, and you and I have had a discussion on where we want to go with this, right?
Right.
And we said,
I think that it was so powerful with me and Andre connecting more so. And not every one of our episodes has to be about race, right? But I think the reason that me and Andre connected so much is because I feel like Richmond is 10 years behind Baltimore or more. So what he's seeing in Richmond, I've already seen it in Baltimore. That was me a long time ago in Baltimore. That was me when the big race teams were Snow Valley. There were no Backyard Boogie. You go to Backyard Boogie that's coming up in the next couple of weeks, and you would think, Paul, you're going to be a minority at Backyard Boogie. 100%. This is a local bike race that it's just completely turned. It's completely did a 180. The way that you would feel at Backyard Boogie, Paul, is exactly the way that I felt like in the early 90s, racing bikes locally.
mm-hmm.
It's one of those things where Richmond's a little further behind, and Andre can do his part in catching them up. So that when he was having this conversation, that's part of the reason why I was so intrigued. I was so attached to it, because I got it. I understand.
So as we think about our mission in Black and Tan, and you and I have had a conversation because we've gotten some interest in people wanting to invest, and should we put out merchandise, all this stuff, that we want this to be a nonprofit. And one of our missions, we don't have to do it every week, but we are gonna talk about and rectify the diversity issue in cycling. That's going to be one of our missions.
Yeah. So we want to, one of the goals that we have is we're going to give back to cycling 100%. So I hope that I hope this platform gets so big, and I hope that it gets to the point where we can make a difference in youth cycling, so we can help kids really get into cycling. Again, I have great friends that are super powerful in doing exactly what I want to do, and I want to help them out as well. We're going to have Fred Powell, who's a local, one of the local NICA coaches, and actually one of the guys that were directly responsible for NICA coming to me. Also a high school friend of mine. We raced forever. We have great stories. Fred is going to be on here, and we're going to talk about it. I let him know that one of our missions is to give back, is if any way we can do it, whether it's through connections that I may have in the cycling industry, or whatever we can do, we're going to give back to the cycling industry. We're going to get not industry. I'm sorry. We're going to give back to the cycling community. The cycling industry is fine. They're going to do fine without us. They don't need our help. But the community, the cycling community, the youth is something that we need to focus on, and it all starts with the kids. So we're giving back.
Excellent. We're excited about that. So, all right, let's talk a little bit about who won the prize.
Yeah. So we had last week. We gave away it's called a Fit Lock. And it is a magnetic water bottle and water bottle holder. It's super cool because if you have problems getting your water bottle in and out, it literally just guides you down and it locks your water bottle in for you, and it's going to stay there. It's not going anywhere. You give it a twist, and it pops off, and you got your water. So yeah, we have one to give away. Who are we giving away to, Paul?
Well, our rules were you had to like the video when it went on YouTube. You had to be subscribed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you had to make a comment. And so
Yep.
we had 9 comments. A couple were repetitious by the same person. But I think that's okay to give him an extra. I gave him an extra vote. Is that right?
All right. If Paul said it counts,
Yeah.
then it counts.
I think if you're going to make multiple comments, not all, and I think it's like an extra ticket. You get an extra ticket.
Oh, like you said, I'm just a small player in this organization.
Anyway, sometimes you actually believe that, but that's all right.
Right.
So our winner, but I don't know who this is. But our winner is Dunbar Poet 77. Do you know who that is?
Dunbar Poet 77. Yes, I do know who that is. I do know who that is. Oh, yeah.
You made me to go to our analytics and figure out who that is. If you know,
I know it is. He's actually part of the Randallstown crew.
Interesting.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? I mean, I think we have some fans for life out of that group, man. I think they really understood and they got what we're talking about.
Well, he is our winner, so we're gonna have to get him that. But you're telling me, so congratulations anyway, Dunbar. But we'll learn his name and then we'll let everybody know as well. But you're telling me our next giveaway are 2 black and tan Vittoria not courses.
Yeah,
they're Corsa Pros. Okay, Corsa Pros, the same ones that Paul and Donald. Paul's will be black and tan. Donald's will be black and pink eventually.
No, I'm riding the black and tan ones right now.
Right now,
incredible. They're incredible tires. Here a little disclaimer though. They are race day tires. If you think you're going to go ride these and never get a flat, you're probably mistaken. It's probably not the tire for you. But they are super fast. They are lightweight. They're tubeless ready. And they're a pretty sick tire, like I said. So you got to subscribe, and leave
a comment.
And you'll qualify to win. 2 weeks from now, we'll announce the winner. Paul has it down to a system.
Got it down. I went on today, gave everybody like a half an hour before. I took all the names, put them on a piece of paper. It was a very systematic way to do it. I'm sure my kids can teach me some way to like highlight and cut and paste
You,
and do. And
you know what I was going to do? I was going to tell. So if there, how many people left comments, I was going to ask you to pick a number between that and one in that number, and then whatever number you picked, I was going to say that was the winner.
I like that. That would have been easier than writing all those names on the paper.
It would have been just as random. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So that's a very cool prize, by the way.
Oh, it's a sick prize.
That's like $190.
Though I don't want. Here's what I don't want. I don't want people thinking that Black and Tan is all about road riding. We're not. We're not like locked into a road thing. I'm Mountain Bike Donald, first of all. Nice to meet you.
Who currently doesn't have a mountain bike?
I sold my bike because I didn't. Anyway, okay. I don't have a mountain bike right now. Only because
Who out of Black and Tan, who has been mountain biking more in the last few weeks? Just so we're clear.
All right. So I'm waiting for something special to come. It's gonna look when it all. The more I think about it, it might be kind of over the top, but I'm waiting. I'm waiting for something special to come down the pipeline. And when I show it to you guys, when I reveal it, you'll understand. Everybody's going to understand.
Yeah, it's going to be a dramatic vision on the trail, I think.
It will. It will be. All right, so we're about to close this up. Oh, you close it up. I always close it up.
So anyway, we're coming back in 2 weeks. The prize is pretty damn cool. Donald will do an edit to this video. I don't think we'll edit out much.
I don't think that's the cool thing about having kind of conversations. Yeah. I don't have to do.
He'll put it on YouTube. Like, subscribe, leave a comment.
That's all you have to do. And so you have 2 weeks to do it. So we'll look at it though right before our next episode comes out. 2 weeks to do it. And win some sick tires. I promise you won't be disappointed. If you're not riding them, and they're not the old Corsa Pros, they're the new Corsa Pros. So you gotta read. It's a different tire. It's better in a lot of ways. So yeah. All right, guys.
Do it.
All right.
Make it happen.
Yeah.
We'll see you. I'll see you on Sunday.
Yep. I'll see you soon. All right. Later, guys. Say what's on your mind.